Odysseus is already safe. His surviving men have escaped the giant's cave. They have reached their ship. Open water lies ahead, and the blinded monster cannot see them. There is no battle left to fight, no puzzle left to solve. Now they only have to slip away without a sound. His crew understands this. Odysseus understands it too. And then, across the water, he shouts his real name. That shout turns a perfect escape into a divine curse. It reveals the contradiction that drives the Odyssey. Odysseus survives by hiding who he is, then suffers because he needs the world to know who won. Before we return to that shout, you need only 3 names. Odysseus rules Ithaca. Penelope is his wife, Telemachus their son. They are the life he is trying to reach. He left for Troy. 10 years of war will become 10 more years trying to reach home. The poem opens near the end with Odysseus stranded on Calypso's island. She offers paradise and immortality. To him, both are a prison. Eternal life would cost the finite one in which he is husband, father, and king. Athena persuades the gods to release him. But how did the cleverest man in Greek mythology become a prisoner of the sea? To answer that, the story moves backward to the first shore after Troy, where victory still tasted like permission. Odysseus leaves Troy with 12 ships and the confidence of a man who has just outwitted an entire city. He helped devise the wooden horse. Greek soldiers hid inside it. The Trojans pulled it behind their walls, believing the war was finally over, and opened their own city to the enemy. For Odysseus, intelligence has done what brute force could not. That lesson will save him again. The confidence it creates will cost him almost everything. The first stop is Ismarus, a city allied with Troy. Odysseus and his men attack, take treasure, and reach the beach before defenders from inland can surround them. Odysseus orders everyone back to the ships. His men refuse. They roast animals, they drink, they celebrate as if one more victory proves that danger must continue obeying them. At dawn, warriors pour down from the hills. The Greeks fight their way into the surf, but every ship leaves with empty places where friends had been. The war is over. The men are still behaving like conquerors. This is the first pattern to remember. Odysseus can recognize danger, but he cannot always make other people leave it. And sometimes he cannot make himself leave either. War has trained the crew to seize opportunity before an enemy can take it away. That instinct made sense outside Troy. On a homeward voyage, it becomes a trap. Every island now looks like another place to conquer. One small detail from Ismarus will matter later. Odysseus spares a priest of Apollo named Maron. In gratitude, the priest gives him jars of extraordinarily strong wine. The raid that reveals the crew's weakness has quietly placed a future weapon in Odysseus's hands. Then the weather turns. Wind drives the fleet away from familiar water. Days pass. Food thins. Home becomes not a direction, but a memory the men must keep choosing. On the next shore, Odysseus sends scouts to search for provisions. The people there offer no weapons and make no threats. They offer the fruit of the lotus. The men who eat it do not die. They simply stop caring about Ithaca. Odysseus drags them back to the ships while they weep and fight him. He ties them beneath the rowing benches until the island disappears. The danger here is not death, it is surrender. The lotus removes the pain of wanting home by removing the desire to reach it. Soon, the fleet reaches a wild island crowded with goats. Across a narrow channel, smoke rises from another shore. Odysseus chooses one ship and 12 men to investigate. No storm drives him there. No god commands him to go. This time, Odysseus walks into the danger himself. The cave looks rich, not ruined. It holds more food than the hungry sailors have seen in weeks. Odysseus's crew gives him the sensible plan: take what they can carry and leave before the owner returns. Odysseus refuses. He wants to meet the owner. He expects food, shelter, and a parting gift. That expectation comes from xenia, the sacred bond between host and guest. In the world of the Odyssey, hospitality is not casual politeness. The gods protect it. A host feeds the stranger. The guest respects the home. Only after welcome do questions of identity and business take over. This custom turns an unknown doorway into temporary safety. A traveler may have no army, family, or legal protection nearby, but the obligation between guest and host follows him. Odysseus enters the cave believing that shared law can reach even this lonely shore. Odysseus assumes that even here, far from any city, this law will protect him. At sunset, the owner returns. His name is Polyphemus. He is a Cyclops, a giant shepherd with one eye in the center of his face. He drives in his flock, then he lifts a boulder across the entrance. The stone is too heavy for all the sailors together. Polyphemus turns toward the strangers and asks who they are. Then he asks where they left their ship. Odysseus hears the trap inside that second question. If the giant finds the vessel, everyone waiting across the channel will be helpless. So he lies. Poseidon smashed the ship on the rocks, he says. These men are the only survivors. Odysseus appeals to the law of guests. Polyphemus laughs. He fears neither the law nor the gods who protect it. To prove it, he seizes 2 sailors and kills them before the others can move. That night, the giant sleeps beside the dying fire. Odysseus draws his sword and creeps close. One strike could avenge the dead. It would also doom the living. If Polyphemus dies, no one can open the cave. Odysseus puts the sword away. This is his intelligence at its best. He delays the action he wants because it cannot produce the outcome he needs. At dawn, Polyphemus takes the sheep outside, seals the cave again, and leaves the prisoners in darkness. They find a long piece of olive wood. They cut it, sharpen it, and harden the point in the fire. The plan sounds simple: blind the giant, force him to open the door, escape when the flock leaves. But Polyphemus will call for help. He will search the entrance, and he will remember the man who hurt him. Odysseus needs the giant drunk, blind, and alive. Most of all, he needs to hide something larger than his body. He needs to hide his identity. When Polyphemus returns, Odysseus offers him Maron's wine. The giant drinks, then he demands more. Greek wine was normally mixed with water. This wine is unusually powerful, and Polyphemus drinks it undiluted. He has no sense of its strength until standing becomes difficult and the cave begins to sway around him. At last, he asks his guest's name. Odysseus gives him the only name that can become a weapon. "Nobody," he says. "My name is Nobody." In Greek, the false name is outis, no one. Polyphemus accepts the answer and promises a guest gift of his own. He will kill Nobody last. The wine pulls him into a heavy sleep. They drive the point into the giant's single eye. Polyphemus screams. The cave shakes. Outside, other Cyclops hear him and gather around the sealed entrance. "Who is attacking you?" they ask. "Who is trying to kill you?" "Nobody," Polyphemus roars. "Nobody is killing me." The answer sounds like an admission that no attacker exists. The others tell him to pray if a god has sent the pain, and they leave. Odysseus has not silenced Polyphemus. He has made the giant's truthful answer useless. That is the deeper trick. Odysseus controls what his enemy believes, then lets the enemy speak honestly inside the lie. Notice what strength means in this scene. Polyphemus controls the stone, the flock, and every exit. Odysseus controls the sequence of ideas. Wine creates trust. The false name creates confusion. The wound summons witnesses who hear the truth and misunderstand it. But the boulder still blocks the cave. Polyphemus must release the sheep. Odysseus ties each surviving sailor beneath the belly of a ram, where the giant's searching hand will not expect a man to be. The blinded shepherd opens the cave and sits in the doorway. He feels the back of every animal that passes. One by one, the sailors move beneath his hands. The final ram carries Odysseus. Polyphemus stops it. The giant speaks to the animal like an old friend. Why has his favorite fallen behind? Does it grieve for its master's eye? Beneath the ram, Odysseus waits. At last, the hand lifts. They run, they reach the ship. Oars strike water, and the island begins to shrink behind them. The plan has worked. Nobody has escaped. Then Odysseus looks at the shore and realizes that if he leaves now, nobody will receive the credit. The men are safe. The story could end here. Odysseus calls back to the shore and mocks the giant. Polyphemus tears a rock from the cliff and throws it toward the voice. The impact drives a wave against the ship. For one terrifying moment, the returning water carries the vessel back toward the island. The crew fights the current and begs Odysseus to stop. The giant is blind. Distance is protecting them. Silence is all they need. Odysseus waits until the ship moves farther out. Then pride defeats caution. "If anyone asks who blinded you," he shouts, "tell them it was Odysseus, king of Ithaca." He gives Polyphemus more than a name. He gives him a title, a family line, and the exact home he is trying to reach. It is easy to call this simple arrogance. It is more dangerous than that. Odysseus comes from a warrior culture where reputation can outlive the body. A victory without a name brings no lasting honor. After 10 years of war, he cannot accept that his cleverest triumph will belong to nobody. That need is not separate from his heroism. It helped carry him through Troy, where commanders survived in memory because songs attached great actions to recognizable names. But the sea does not reward the same values as a battlefield. Here, being known gives an enemy power. Inside the cave, losing his identity saved him. On the open sea, living without credit feels like another kind of death. Now Polyphemus understands who has defeated him, and he answers with a name Odysseus did not know mattered. Poseidon, god of the sea, is the giant's father. Polyphemus raises his hands and prays. Let Odysseus never reach home. If fate will not allow that, then let him return late. Let him return alone. Let him return broken, carried home on another man's ship, and find suffering waiting inside his own house. The prayer does not ask for vague misfortune. It sets conditions. Delay the return, remove the companions, destroy the ship, make homecoming depend on strangers, then place one final trial inside Ithaca itself. Polyphemus has turned Odysseus's introduction into an address for punishment. Poseidon hears him. The giant throws one final stone. It lands behind the vessel, and the wave pushes Odysseus toward open water. For a moment, it looks like another escape. It is the beginning of the curse. Odysseus survives because he can lie, observe, wait, and turn weakness into strategy. Those gifts are real, so is the pride that keeps undoing them. He defeats the Cyclops by becoming no one. He condemns himself by insisting on being someone. That contradiction will shape every trial ahead. Poseidon now knows the name of the man he is hunting. The crew has learned that their captain can save them, but not always from himself. And somewhere beyond the horizon, Ithaca is still waiting. The cave is behind them. Poseidon's wrath is still ahead.